Hey guys, Doug the Michigan Piper here in the Pipe Rest, and I'm relaxing for just a few minutes. I shouldn't say just a few minutes. I took the day off today, Veterans Day. I get the day off, I should say. And I am smoking in my Dr. Grabo Savoy today. Some Mason Edwards number 5, which is quickly becoming one of my favorites. But I actually spent the day, my wife had to work today, so I actually spent the day, most of the day, forging Sam Adams Boston Lager, kind of celebratory beer, and I'll tell you why in a minute. No, I've been working on some stuff for some family and some friends, and now I'm getting some orders for some things in the forge. Not just pipe tampers. So my sister said, can you make me a candle holder? Well, I know it's possible because I've seen them. I don't know if I can do it or not, but I'm like, yeah, I'll give it a shot. And I just finished that today. Took me way longer than it needed to, but there that is. And it's got a lot of character. For my first one, it's got, got some not smooth edges, but a lot of people like that. But I think it turned out all right. What I will say is, one of the things I like about forging, the main thing I like about forging is that, when I start swinging that hammer, after about the first 10 minutes of swinging, you start to forget about things, and you forget that there's, at least I do, that there's a world out there, and it's just you and your hammer and whatever you're working on. And I'm sure you guys, you have some different things that you like that you might have the same thing with, but it just, to be able to form something with your hands and forget everything, forget the stresses, forget, whatever's going on in your life. It's really something else. So that's the main thing I like about forging. But the second thing I like about forging is that I got a bunch of fuzzies on here because I wiped it off with a towel. Is that each part of this thing is, and it's not just this, it's anything really. Oh, by the way, I did make this for one of my sisters, and Derek, if you're watching this, do not tell my sister I made this yet. I would rather see it in person first. But what I like about it is, if you don't have something to make what you need, you can make the tool. For example, this part up here, the cup, that is just a pipe. I think it's a 3/4 inch pipe. And the way you make that is you make what's called a fuller. And I'll try to remember to put a picture of it right here. But what a fuller does is it goes around the pipe right there, and you just smack it with a hammer. And you keep turning the pipe. You can't do it all at once. You'll crimp the pipe and have to start over, but it makes this nice indentation down here. Turn it a little bit so you can see it, that nice indentation down there. And then you just cut it off at the base, and you have that little cup. And then once that's done, then you can take the top of it on the end of the horn of the anvil and kind of beat on it a little bit and get that to flare out like you see there. And then, I could put this together with screws. I really could, but I wanted to do it as traditionally as possible. So instead of screws, I made rivets. Well, let me back up real quick. That fuller I was talking about, I made the fuller. took some steel, bent it, and then I welded it to what's called a hardy shank, which goes in the hardy hole to hold it in place. So that was one tool I made. And then another tool I made that I didn't use for this was, I don't say I made, but I modified. To get this dish look, you really need to have something that's got a dish in it. So I cut off the bottom of an old fire extinguisher. Problem was, this is bigger than that fire extinguisher, so I didn't get to use that part. But then I needed, like I said, I needed some screws. So instead of just using screws, I decided to use rivets. And I made my own rivets. So you take a little piece of steel, you upset the head, which is basically you hammer down on it like I do for the tampers, make it flat, and then you drill a couple holes. And drilling was the only thing I did on this that wasn't like by hand, that didn't take power or whatever. But these rivets right here, and there's actually a rivet in here as well. You can see it on the back side here. You just basically, you make it looks like a tamper, like one of the tampers I make. It's flat on one end. You stick it up through the hole here, and then I had a rod I stuck in here and beat on the rod, and it flattens both ends of that out when it's red hot and holds it in place. Same thing with these. You know, you stick them through, and on the back side it looks like that, and you know, you just lay that part down on the anvil. You take a ball peen hammer here and just beat those until they're all flat. And that's one of the things I really like about forging, you guys, is that you can do that. And you know, it's like, oh, I wish I had this tool. Well, no, I guess I'll make it. So anyway, no, I don't think it turned out too bad. Just kind of one of those things of it's not it's not perfect, but you know, it's handmade, so she'll really get a kick out of that, I'm sure. I did make some other things. My dad's wife, he wanted a trivet that was in the shape of an S. Which again, I've never made before. So I made that, which is hard because an S is not a circle, you know, like a trivet normally is. Trivets, if you don't know, is something that holds the hot pot up off the table so it doesn't burn the table. And so I made that, and then I put some cork feet on it so it stands up off the table a little bit. And I made some stake turners out of railroad spikes. Somebody had sent something to me on Facebook and was like, hey, I'd buy one of these. I'm like, hey, challenge accepted. So I made one of those, and turned out pretty good. And I put it on Facebook, and I'm like, here you go. See, I made it, blah, 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 you know, and kind of laughing about it. And I got 3 orders right away. I wasn't even trying to sell it. So now I got some work to do. I got work ahead of me, but that's good because you know, you make money to go back into the hobby. So. But it's been nice to be out there. I've had a lot of work to do with this new house, or this house that we're tearing down. So had some family come over Saturday, and we really tackled it and made a big dent in it. And some bumps and bruises later, we're all happy it's behind us, but there's a lot more work to be done. So needless to say, I have been a busy man lately, but most of it's been enjoyable. So just catching up with you guys. So guys, I'm going to continue relaxing with the pipe for a little while before I got a meeting to go to, and I appreciate you listening to me babble. So guys, I hope you're all doing well. Until next time, you take care.